All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the nerve center of a construction project, the technical office. We're going to follow a single everyday problem from its start on a messy job site all the way to its final solution. First, we'll walk through how it's handled the traditional, old-school way. Then, we're going to see what happens when you give that exact same process a powerful AI upgrade. You know, every massive paper trail, every frustrating delay, it almost always starts with one small physical problem out on the construction site. It's that moment where the perfect digital plan meets the messy, real world, and, well, they don't quite see eye to eye. So let's picture this. We're on a big office building project. The HVAC crew is up on the lifts, installing ductwork, when suddenly there's a problem. A massive air duct is heading straight for a structural steel beam. In the business, we call this a clash, and it means all work in that area grinds to a halt. And just like that, the clock is officially ticking, and a formal paper trail has to kick off right now. So how does this get sorted out the old-fashioned way? Let's walk through the very careful, step-by-step paper chase that has been the backbone of construction projects for decades. You have to understand, this is the foundation that everything else is built on. This workflow map here shows the entire journey. It kicks off with a site engineer reporting the problem. That immediately triggers a formal request for information, or what we call an RFI. From there, the shop drawing has to be updated, then it's formally submitted to the consultant for their blessing, and finally, once the fix is actually built, the as-built drawings get updated. It's a logical chain for sure, but the key thing to notice is that every single step requires a person to manually do something. The very first thing that happens is purely administrative. The document controller, who's kind of like the project's librarian, has to set up a digital filing cabinet in a system like Aconex or SharePoint. They create a specific folder for absolutely everything: RFIs, submittals, drawings, you name it. This strict organization is the bedrock of the whole system. Seriously, everything has to have its place or things get lost. Next, someone in the technical office opens up a big Excel spreadsheet and manually logs the RFI. They have to type in the number, the discipline, in this case MEP for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, a quick description of the clash, the date, and its status. And they have to be careful because every single keystroke needs to be perfect. This spreadsheet is the project's single source of truth, and one little typo here can cause a massive headache down the line. Okay, so with the problem officially logged, the real engineering work can finally begin. The engineer fires up AutoCAD, figures out how to reroute the ductwork to avoid that beam, updates the drawing, and then bundles it all up into a formal submission package to send off to the design consultant for their official review and approval. And at last, once the new design is approved and the crew on site has built it, the loop is finally closed. The team updates what we call the as-built drawings. These are critical. They're the final record of what was actually built, not just what was planned. And this is so important because these drawings are used to create the operation and maintenance manuals, the instruction book for how to run the building for the next 50 years. So there you have it. That's the process. It's structured, it's methodical, and on paper, it works perfectly. But as anyone who has ever stepped foot on a construction site knows, the reality is usually a whole lot messier. Let's take a look at where this tidy paper chase can start to fall apart. Is the manual system reliable? For the most part, yes, it's a tried and true method. But is it efficient? When you're dealing with the pressures of a modern project, the answer is often a big, fat no. The cracks start to show, and they show up fast. And this is where the daily chaos just takes over. You know how it is. A site manager sends a critical instruction in a quick WhatsApp message that never gets officially logged. A key decision gets buried in reply number 37 of some massive email chain. An urgent RFI sits unanswered for weeks just because nobody got an automatic reminder. And all the while, the project managers are flying blind because all the key performance metrics are being tracked by hand in a spreadsheet somewhere. Okay, so this is where things get really interesting. This is where we introduce the upgrade. Now, we're not going to throw out that solid, reliable workflow we just talked about. No way. Instead, we're going to wrap it in a layer of smart automation to manage the chaos and get rid of the drag. And the architecture behind it is surprisingly simple. Think of it in 4 layers. First, the intake layer grabs information from anywhere: emails, WhatsApp, you name it. Then, automation acts like a traffic cop, routing it where it needs to go. The AI layer then reads and understands it all. And finally, the control layer updates all our logs and puts it on a dashboard for everyone to see. Simple, powerful, and it all just works in the background. All right, let's run that scenario back. We're going back to the site.
back to that same HVAC duct clashing with that same structural beam, but this time, the technical office has an AI co-pilot working alongside them.
This time, the process kicks off in a much simpler way. The site engineer just pulls out his phone, snaps a quick photo of the clash, maybe adds a quick voice note or text message saying, "Hey, we've got a problem here," and sends it to a special WhatsApp number. That's it. No forms to fill out, no emails to compose. The second that message hits send, an automation platform, something like Make.com or Power Automate, is listening 24/7, and it instantly catches it. You can think of it like a digital postmaster who never sleeps, never takes a break, and never, ever loses a piece of mail.
That automation platform then hands the message and the photo over to an AI model, like ChatGPT. The AI reads the informal text, it looks at the photo to understand the context, and then it generates a perfectly structured, professional summary of the problem. It's basically translating that messy on-site note into clean, actionable data.
And boom, just like that, the official RFI log is updated automatically. The system assigns a new RFI number, it correctly identifies the discipline as MEP, drops in that clean summary from the AI, and changes the status to registered. This whole process took, a few seconds, and no human had to type a single thing, which means there's zero chance of a typo. So what's the big deal here? Did the AI just replace the engineer? Absolutely not. The real value, the real magic, isn't in replacement. It's an augmentation. It's about creating a powerful partnership between the human engineer and their AI assistant.
I mean, the difference is night and day when you put them side by side. The manual workflow is slow, it's risky, and information gets lost all the time. The AI-augmented workflow, on the other hand, gives you instant document registration, incredible accuracy, and, for the very first time, a live, real-time view of what is actually happening on your project.
Now let's be crystal clear about something. The AI did not solve the clash. It can't do that. That still takes the experience, the creativity, and the professional judgment of a human engineer to open up AutoCAD and design the best fix. What the AI did was eliminate all the boring, repetitive administrative work, the logging, the tracking, the chasing. It wiped that off the engineer's plate so they could focus on their real job, engineering.
And this is the ultimate payoff, especially for management. Because every single action is now captured digitally. You get these incredible live dashboards that show you the health of your project in real time. Questions like, how many RFIs are still open, or what's our average response time, are no longer a week-long research project. A manager can just look at the dashboard. The live truth of the project is right there, whenever they want.
So this brings us to the most important takeaway of all. This isn't about chasing the newest, shiniest technology. The real key is to start with a solid, disciplined manual process. Once you have mastered your workflow, then you add AI as an intelligent supporting layer on top. You're not replacing your engineering process, you're making it faster, smarter, and way more resilient. So really, the question isn't if this technology is going to change the industry. The real question is, how quickly are you going to